Okay, here is a short history of financial transactions. First there was barter, then there was cash, then checks, then charge cards, and now peer-to-peer transactions.
What does that mean, though?
I have no idea.
We brought in Rich Brooks with Flight New Media to help us navigate this world. What are peer-to-peer transactions?
Great question. So basically, it's when two people are transferring money, electronic fund transfer, usually using an app, and usually between two people. So there are merchants now accepting these payments, but basically we'd each download an app, the same app it would have to be, and we tie it into our bank account, and then we can transfer money between the two of us. That's really what peer-to-peer transfers are.
How big is this right now?
So it's pretty big and it's growing. They expect $86 billion with a B dollars in peer-to-peer transactions this calendar year.
All of these other things that I mentioned, barter, cash, checks, charge cards, they're still around, they work perfectly well. Why are people turning to peer-to-peer transactions?
I think there are a number of reasons. One of just convenience. I mean, we've all been in a situation where you get back from a night out and you go to pay the babysitter and you don't have anything close to correct change and you end up paying her like $20 an hour. So I think this is just a very simple way of doing it. I almost never carry around checks. I don't always have the right change. People generally don't take credit cards, so this is an easy way to do it. If you're using the same app, it's just a matter of tapping a few buttons and suddenly I can transfer money into your account.
All right, if there are tens of billions of dollars in transactions that are being conducted, then presumably there's money to be made here. Who are the big players in this industry?
So one of the more popular platforms out there is called Venmo, and it's a very slick interface, it's easy to use, and recently it was purchased by PayPal. So now a lot of the merchants who accepted PayPal, they're also accepting Venmo, so that makes it very popular to use. And then there's also ones like Zelle, Cash, and Apple Pay is now getting into it, which when I talked to a lot of people, many of them felt that this was possibly a big disruptor, that because of the name recognition and the trust built up, people might switch over to that. Zelle, however, is tied into a lot of these bigger banks. So you may have seen that ad where the dad wants to buy something from the bake sale, but he doesn't have his wallet on him, and the little girls are like, oh, it's okay, you can, and anyway, so Zelle is what's tied into a lot of these major banks.
Okay, so admittedly, I use it because it's so easy to just be like, oh, you bought lunch this time? Okay, here, let me pay you back right now. But the one thing that slowed me down from signing up was the fact that it's connected to your bank account. Obviously, that's how it works. So how does that work?
So when I went through the process, I decided to connect it to my bank account rather than a credit card, which is another option. And so you have to, like on your check, it's got your routing number, it's got your account number, so you have to plug those things in. And then what they do is, just like with PayPal, is they make 2 short withdrawals under $1 each, and that basically is your passcode. So you have to wait for that to be processed, and then they refund your money, and then you can go into your bank account and see, okay, they took out 46 cents and 75 cents, so 4675. You plug that into the app, they know it's you, and then you can start working. So if you want to get started with this, give yourself a day or so, because it won't happen immediately the first time through. Once it's set up, though, it's super easy to use.
It's so convenient, but I know a lot of people right now are like, wait a minute, I don't want this connected to my bank account. Are these safe?
So generally they're safe. I mean, the bottom line is there have been some technology snafus along the way, and if you do a quick Google search, you'll find problems with every single platform. I would say, on the other hand, that there is credit card fraud, and there is people stealing your IDs, and there's check cashing fraud, and you can be held up on the corner for your wallet. So there's problems with every single currency. This is one of them. Some of them have built-in safeguards, like no more than $50. You're not responsible for $50 or more. But once you pay somebody, there is no middleman there. So you would have to, if you accidentally paid the wrong person, you'd have to convince that person to give you your money back, because there's no other recourse to getting your money back.
Since this is not being run by charitable operations, there must be a cost to the users. How much does it cost?
It doesn't actually cost. If you hook it up to your bank, there's no charge. That's not where they're making their money. If you hook it up to a credit card, then they make 3% on every transaction.
That's a lot.
Yes, more than normal. And then the other thing is, if you are, when you think about if they're holding on to this money for a little bit of time, which they generally do before it's transferred, they can make a lot of interest on all that money. So that's where PayPal makes a lot of their money, is just on interest, because you haven't yet moved it into your bank. And then some of them also add advertising as well, so that's another revenue stream for them.
All right, so the next time we all go out to lunch, we'll make sure Amanda reimburses us
Right, I got you.
in the proper fashion.
It's about time.
Rich Brooks for Flight New Media. Thank you, Rich.
Good to be here.
Back with more right after this.